India has a fantastic coastline, over 4,000 kilometers almost of coastline, but most people here don't know how to swim. Which is really sad because it means they don't have a relationship with this amazing ecosystem. Hi, my name is Jill Fergurson and you're watching me on GoaTalks. I am an entrepreneur. I run a foundation called Act for Goa that I started about 6 years ago. I am a change maker, or at least I try to be, and I am a consultant. I help other businesses and nonprofits learn how to have real impact in the community and around the world. At least that's my goal. So this is something that's been a part of me since I was a kid. I think, a lot of people talk about having a calling or having a vocation, not just a job, but a career. And this has been kind of my calling since I was really little. So when I was younger with my parents, we used to go on Thanksgiving and do feeds for the homeless shelters. And when I was about 11, I started organizing my own Thanksgiving dinner. So I would organize all of the donations from the local grocery stores and get volunteers to come and organize and kind of oversee the whole meal prep, and then open it up to the community of homeless people that were living in my neighborhood in Bothell, Washington, where I'm from. And then it just kind of continued building from there. I did volunteer work throughout high school, college. I do a lot of feeding at different homeless shelters, teen feeds. I did relief work after Hurricane Katrina, which devastated the East Coast in the United States, Biloxi. So I went there for a week and actually worked in deconstructing houses to get them down to their kind of base limbs, if you will, so that you could spray for mold and help the community rebuild. Because unfortunately, the reality is that when you have these type of climate catastrophes, they don't, they affect everyone, and not everybody has the financial ability to move or to rebuild completely from scratch. So it's really important that volunteers can come in and do whatever they can to support. So yeah, and then that just kind of kept going, and then later on I studied human rights and development under a sub-focus of, I have a master's in peace and justice studies. So I specialize in human rights and development with a sub-focus in environmental issues. So what that means is that when we develop the world in a way that doesn't give a voice or consider the environment, that leads to issues, right? Because we are connected to the land, and human rights are access to clean water, access to clean air, all of these different things. And when you don't preserve that in the way in which you develop, that leads to human rights issues, which eventually leads to conflict. To be honest, it was kind of a combination of things, but mainly my longtime partner, Rahul Malani, he's from India. He and I met in college, and he and I started dating actually right before my master's program. I always tell people it's kind of like a universal alignment of saying yes to opportunities. So first I said yes to a guy. Then I said yes to an internship. At my university, we have international women peacemakers who come and live in residence for several months on campus telling their stories, because statistically it's proven that women, when you invest in women, the return on human capital is much higher. Right? When we invest in men, it's only about a 30% return in human capital, whereas when you invest in women, it's almost 100%. So women peacekeepers have a vital role to play in the world, right? Because women have a natural nurturing maternal instinct that makes them think about the next generation, about their children, about what would be best. And one of the women peacemakers who was there while I was studying, a woman named Manjula, was at that time executive director of an organization called Navsarjan Trust, which operates in Gujarat. It's in over 3,000 villages across Gujarat and works with marginalized communities to essentially be a voice for them. So anywhere from, say, Dalits not having access to water, or hate crimes against different communities and things like that. This organization kind of works on their behalf. So I was offered an internship and lived in rural Gujarat for 3 months. Did all my research for my master's thesis, we call it a capstone in my degree, on India, and also specifically on how the special economic zones were negatively affecting the human rights of the local populations. So then by the time I graduated, India was my region of specialization. And then my partner, Rahul, was like, I want to move to Goa. I thought I would just take a gap year because I went straight from undergrad into grad school. So thought I deserved a break. And 6 months later, we started Vayu, which is a hotel hospitality company that now is in its 11th year of operation. Somebody who just likes a good challenge, I think. I also think I gave a presentation recently where I said, I'm not an optimist, I'm not a realist, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a possibilityist, which means what is possible. Because I don't want to say that it's not possible for the world to be a better place or that it's not possible for us to create our own reality, because I think it is. But I think unlike an optimist, the reality is a possibilist understands the amount of work that is required to make that possible reality possible, right? It takes effort. And for me, when I graduated, because I was very young, I was the youngest person in the history of my program at that time. My colleagues and my peers who are all my age now actually were like, you're so passionate, so great, but you need to go get some life experience, go get some real world experience and understand how to apply this passion in the real world. And so when we came to Goa, my partner was looking for something to do. He had this idea for Vayu, and I kind of tell people it took everything that both Rahul and myself loved and put it into one entity. It was with the concept about helping create a conscious community that was connected to the environment, community around, and creative and fun, and that could inspire people to live that conscious, connected life. So my undergrad is political science and business administration, so I had a bit more business sense than he did. He's a philosophy major, so it was good if we combined forces on this, and then I could get that kind of real-world experience that I needed. Plus, at that time, I was really interested in a concept called conscious capitalism, which is another, kind of thought process that has originated from the United States. The guys who founded Whole Foods are some of the people who actually first kind of coined this concept. And the idea is that capitalism can be heroic when done ethically and responsibly. And the way in which you do it ethically and responsibly is that it's not just about the bottom line. It's about the triple, or in my world, the quadruple bottom line, which the quadruple bottom line is people, planet, peace, profit, right? Because to create peaceful societies, everybody needs upward opportunities for upward mobilities and for their basic needs and human rights to also be met. So you can employ people with dignity and give them that opportunity to have an amazing life if you can create a business that self-sustains in that way. So that was kind of the idea behind Vayu. Plus Vayu also, it really first started with the surf school actually and the kite school. And what I always felt there is that, India has a fantastic coastline, over 4,000 kilometers almost of coastline, but most people here don't know how to swim. Which is really sad because it means they don't have a relationship with this amazing ecosystem, which is so vital to the way the environment is balanced. And what I've personally felt, because I'm somebody who's a surfer, kite surfer, doing all these sports, is that when you see people build that relationship with their natural environment, over time an environmental ethic internally grows naturally, organically. Because when you derive so much joy and love from something, then you want to protect it. You want to take care of it. There's a reason why surfers internationally are some of the biggest advocates for cleaning up the oceans of plastic. Nobody likes surfing in plastic trash. Nobody likes seeing the thing that they love being destroyed. And so we wanted to help. I thought that was a really good cause to help people build that relationship with this ecosystem and hopefully over time inspire them to protect it. You can't force people to change, but you can inspire them to. So you have to create opportunities where they feel emotionally inspired to do the thing that's best for everyone. we are human. The reason and way we have always survived is through community, right? That's the way that we are going to be able to solve the biggest problems of today and tomorrow and the future, is through help, through each other, through the collective good. And I feel very fortunate that after 11 years at Vayu, we have a fantastic team. We have a huge team now after having multiple locations and all of that. But many of them have been with us for 10 years even. Some of them, most of them have been with us 5-6 years. And I feel so great because I can step out of that role and do things like Act for Goa or my other consulting projects because of the fact that they're there too, and they also are as invested in the intention and the ethos of that business. And so it's unrealistic to think that anything can be done alone. And the most valuable thing any company or any organization can build for itself is a community and team who is invested in the kind of mission and vision of that thing, for sure. I'm here to serve. I'm here to, as somebody who is an outsider, the reality is that I have to be very careful. Also, this is my home. I do love it. I do want to protect it. For me, the whole world is my home. So I studied environmental policy and human rights and everything. So I definitely care about it all. But I think the reality is that for me, it's more important to listen to what is the needs, what is the desires, the wants of the people of Goa and the community, than to project my own, right? That's the first rule of, if you're trying to actually help empower communities, is that you don't tell them what they lack. You don't tell them what they need. You listen to them and empower them with what they have. It's a concept called asset-based community development, in which because the reality is Goa is rich. Actually, in many ways, it's the number 8 in the world for biodiversity. Top 8 places in the world for biodiversity. That's huge. The mountain range that runs through, not the mountain range, sorry, the forests that run through the south of Goa are older than the Himalayas. That's insane. That's incredible. You guys have so many Schedule 1 species here and so much beautiful, ancient, rich culture and history that is very unique compared to all of India, just like every state in India is very unique, and that needs to be celebrated and that needs to be protected. So it's not, I think if somebody gives me criticism, I would hope and I would like to think that I'm able to really listen to it with an open heart, to understand that we're all human and that we all have areas that we need to grow and that we all have shadows, and that's something that I am never going to avoid with, but that when we can connect into that humanity and also own our, kind of lesser than aspects of ourselves, then it's easier to connect as humanity and also build out that team, because I'm not going to be great at everything. So it's good to know what I'm not good at, so that I can work with others who are good at that. And like that, we can support each other and collectively grow together and forward in whatever way. It's about collaboration and co-creating that vision. It should never just be one person's concept or idea. I wouldn't say it's just one person. I would say there's many people who've kind of been supportive of my journey. First and foremost, obviously my parents, my family. It's a very weird and different kind of life path that I've chosen to take. But they're very supportive and proud, which makes me feel good about the choices I'm making and the way in which I'm honoring the privilege, which I was lucky enough to be born into. I am privileged. I'm educated. I'm from a family who's like, you can do whatever you want. You can marry whoever you want. You can live wherever you want. As long as you're a good person, we're proud of you. That's it, and that's a privilege. That's a privilege to have that, and to have, even from a young age, have teachers tell me, you can be anything. You can be the first woman president, or you can be a lawyer. Having that type of confidence is part of what that self belief, right? That I can do anything is what has allowed me to do so much, to be an entrepreneur, to start things. And I think that's something that makes me, that I wish more children, especially in India, had that type of messaging, that they can do anything, that they can be anything, because actually the largest youth population in the world resides here. So if we could harness that power for climate change, for changing the way in which we connect to the planet instead of extractive, making it more, conservatory or collaborative, whatever it is, then that could be, that would change the direction of the planet for sure. One really important thing I can't live without, I would say my community and my animals. I guess that's two, but they're part of my community. But I think it's really important. See, material things are great, but they can disappear. And if you get so connected with something that's like small, then you're losing connected with the faith you have. And we can see from like the whole world, especially even like what's happening now, is that everything can be taken away in a moment. But the thing that actually helps you rebuild and recover is your support structure, right? Which your support structure are your animals and your community, your family, who help remind you that you are enough and you have everything you need to start anew within you. I think a really big challenge, honestly, is I think for most nonprofits is obviously fundraising. Honestly, the difficult part about having a nonprofit versus having a business is that when you have a business, the service or the product that you're providing generates an income stream, a revenue stream, right? So it's like a one-to-one. I give you a service or I give you a product and then you pay me for it. And then like that allows the wheels to keep churning forward. But with a nonprofit, the unfortunate reality is that I have to provide a service or a product, but then I don't get money directly from just providing that service or product. I also have to measure and be very careful about how that product or that service is effectively addressing the underlying issue I'm trying to address, while simultaneously reach out to people, fundraise, and make them understand or realize why whatever issue we're trying to address is so important and why the strategy that we're taking is justified or also important. And the reality is that most of the problems that the social sector faces are ones that were co-created by the entire planet, right? By the society and the culture in which we live in today. And so people, if everybody was willing to make those changes, then those problems wouldn't exist. So it's also about convincing people to do the behavioral changes that are required. I think that's really hard. We know what we need to do, but we lack the will to do it. Believe in yourself. That's the most important. And lean into community. Like, I really think it's really important that people don't try and do everything alone, because that's not possible. There's so much that we can go so much further together than we can alone. And also, I know it's really easy to get into a point of being hopeless or being frustrated with what is, but instead think about what could be. And that's what I mean about being a possibility. It's also is if you have the right community, then building that new way of living, that new society, that new whatever is much, much more possible. So yeah, believe in yourself and find people who believe in you too. Thank you for watching me on ItsGoa. I'll see you next time.